question is, what is original?
But also we have another car here, which I wanted to discuss about the identity of the car.
The 911R.
Yeah, we have a 911R here, and tell me about a little bit the car, and then we can discuss what is this car about, and which car is this, and which is the identity of this car.
Yeah. Well, the car is, I guess, from 1968, 911R. The special thing about this car is, or about its identity, from the chassis number, it's not an R, but it has been built during the time of the 911R from the same people with the same parts.
So they took normal 911 and they put it apart. They took the R parts from the factory and they put them together on this car. Okay.
Exactly.
In period. Okay.
Exactly.
So question is this a 911R or is a replica or is something else? What do you think?
For me, it's not a replica because it's not replicating something. Replicating for me starts when the period is over and then you take something in a new history, a new...
From scratch, you build something from scratch.
For example, taking my car and making a 2.7 RS out of it would be technically possible, or putting in there a 2.7 MFI and doing a Carrera out of that would be technically doable.
Yeah,
would be backdating or whatever it may be. But for me, being in the period and these people, you need to take in consideration what these people thought about the car. They had the idea of, oh, that's a great car. And there's a basis. And that's probably what they did in the factory as well. They took the same basis and used the same parts, just not hammered in the same chassis number. But basically, that's what they did during those times. So it's not a replica from my point of view.
I agree. It's not a replica. Yeah. Okay. How would you classify this? I mean, in my opinion, okay, the identity of this car is 911. Which model was based on this one? Do you remember? It was maybe, okay, 2.4 maybe. Yeah.
Probably yes.
Probably yes. 2.4 identity, and then they didn't modify the identity, but they gave her a new identification, which is now is
an upgrade.
911R, an upgrade. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Would you sell this car in the market as a 911R? How would you advertise this car?
Well, I don't have to, but
I know. I mean, if you would. I mean,
yes, of course. Probably a 911R with transparent history of the car, telling the people, look, during those times, so many years after this car has been built, it has been done by the same people with the same parts. And since then, it has been used as a 911R and been raced. So it has the racing history and still has.
So do you think history here is crucial when introducing this car to buyer or the community?
Probably yes.
Okay. Yeah. Does it make a difference? And then we are going into modifications that the upgrade was done in period versus not in period. So what do you think has more value?
Well, probably done in period.
Done in period. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Yeah. Okay.
But it also depends on what you want to do with the car. I'm always telling the people, look, 2.7 RS, 800,000, 1 point something million, depending on the history of the car and all these things. And then there come brands like Singer Vehicle Design or other famous brands doing those backdates, resto mode, whatever you want to call them.
Retro modes.
Whatever. People are paying the same money for these cars, 1 point something million. So what is their value in there? 964 backdated to an F model with new parts. That's what Singer does. And then you have like taking my car and doing 2.7 RS out of it, or taking original 7.S RS. So what is it? Why people are doing that? And what is their value? And why are they paying 1 million for those cars? Maybe we need to ask them. Because obviously they have some value in their mind, that perceived value, that they are willing to do that.
I think there's people for everything, right? There's market for every single individual, that's for sure. For me, what is important is, as you mentioned before, transparency. I mean, you need to tell what you're selling, okay? And that has to be properly supported with history and documentation and proper identification of the car. Listen, this car is, yes, 911R, which was built in period from a chassis, which is not an R. And here is a history. Here are the photos, hopefully, of how the upgrade was done, when it was done, and who did it. Mm-hmm. And then you're okay. You are not okay when you go to the market with or to a coffee, car and coffee, and say, oh, 2.7 RS, look how good it is. Mm-hmm. I mean, and you actually telling to the guy, yes, it's a 2.7 RS. I mean, it's not, you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is nothing bad, but transparency and trust, I think, is key. Okay? That's my opinion.
Of course, that's totally, and that's something that, well, we have seen that with some famous cases in the world right now where numbers being faked and all these things. But being transparent about those things, because sometimes you need to put some spare parts in there with a new number because there is no replacement. But enough, being transparent about these things, I think sometimes that adds value, because when you can decide on your own, okay, well, understood, because that was not available, or it was also in those times because they had some problems with availability of those parts in the 80s or 90s, something like that, and that's also part of the history. And now maybe we can change it back because we have found the part somewhere, I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, talking about transparency, and that's exactly what you do, being transparent and being, just honest.
And also showing who did the job, you know. I had to do something with the leather, my seats leather of the Ferrari. You know, they never restore 100,000 kilometers, 47 years old, and they were tore, right, in the driver. And then I went to 3 different people, and one crazy Italian told me, we replaced all the leather, we put new leather. He didn't even have the right color. I said, no. And then I ended up doing it with Donny, because Donny, first, preservation versus restoration. Okay, I think that's what I needed, because I didn't want to kill the smell of the original Connelly leather. For me, that was important, crucial. But also, he approached the job, and it was not easy, in a way that only he knows how to do it. So when the car leaves my life, okay, it will be clear who did the job and how he did the job. For me, it adds value to the car, and I have to be 100% transparent on who did the job. Not the job itself, not the part that I replace or I modify or I restore, is actually who did the job. And this is, in my opinion, super important. It should be part of your history and documentation.
Yeah, that's totally true, because sometimes you can't repair things and you need to replace. Leather interior, it's a famous thing. I know somebody that has a 300 SL with 700,000 kilometers on the clock.
Wow.
Still driving the car, and the patina is there. Of course, you also need to take care of the patina. You cannot always say, just use it and it's okay.
Preservation.
Whereas it needs to be balanced. You can also clean out the patina at some point. You need to be careful about these things. But at some point, maybe you need to change something, and then you need to document it. And it also adds value on the chain of the history of the car. And that's exactly what you do.
Yeah.
Documenting those things that cannot be faked, or there are no errors in there, and it's authentic, and being honest to when you're passing on the car.
Markus, so I think we covered a lot. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for introducing me to these super nice cars. And I think we will talk more, okay, because there are other topics that we will open. I hope the community will interact and make comments, ask questions, and from those we will probably keep talking about terms, glossary, and also how to enter into the classic car hobby.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Markus.
Bye.